Okay? So, whenever you are putting these taste in your food, bitter and astringent will never or should never increase the amount of pungent food you're taking. Right? Okay.
In that order?
Yeah, that just kind of flies in the face of a lot of things that you hear that lentils are really good for you, but if you're supposed to eat more ginger, garlic than you ever do lentils,
okay.
Then
see, most of the things we hear, right, are very generalized statements. Tomatoes are good because they have this. Lentils are good because they have this, right? They are good, right? But again, they have to be harmonized with all the other things you're eating, right? They cannot be good on their own if you're eating too much of that, right? Too much of anything will not help, even if it's the best thing, right? Like everybody says, okay, 2 or 3 liters of water, but what if you drink 8 liters of water? You know, it says it's good, but no, everything in moderation, and you see what are the other things you're taking alongside to make it work. Okay? So bitter and astringent should not be more than pungent, and pungent, bitter and astringent together should not be more than sour and salty. Okay? So sour and salty should always be more than pungent, bitter and astringent, and sweet should always be more than sour, salty, pungent, bitter and astringent. That's how it works. Okay? So it's okay, yeah?
Can you explain it again so
Yeah.
that I can teach this to somebody? Is how I
I think just with the lentil thing though, I think what it is like with, say, the pungent ones, you'd be using such a small amount. So for example, if you were to use a whole clove of garlic, then it would be silly to put like half a teaspoon of lentils on the plate.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
The next one helps you with that, right? I know it will explain it more. But what I mean is, right, whenever you're eating lentils, right, you would be eating rice or bread with it, carbohydrates, right? You would be eating other things, right? The thing, okay, have you...
Lentil would count as a carbohydrate?
It would, of course, because, see, lentils and beans, they would not just be astringent, but this is the example because astringent foods are very few, so lots of foods will have a combination of things. Yeah. So the next thing is that Indian kitchen pharmacy, where I have all the spices that we are using and how we are using, right? Just so that even if you are using just one lentils, right, with your diet, but if you are using all the other spices are magic because they have all different taste, and if you use them, that's all the taste covered in one dish. That's why Indian curries always have spices in them. That's one of the reasons. And see, back home, if anybody gets sick, I think the first thing that is raided is the kitchen cupboard. That is where the grandmothers and the mothers will go and say, okay, this is what we have and this is what can be done. My father used to make their own medicine, but my mother never let me have the medicine he was making. But we never told that to the doctors. Okay, so is that okay? Yeah. Yeah. So this is where then we use, right? Now suppose we are making lentils and it has sweet and astringent in it. We can put something which is pungent, ajwain, that is caraway seeds, right? Or that is amalaki, that is all taste but salt. Or if you want to put basil, you want to put coriander, you want to put fenugreek, or turmeric. So turmeric goes in every curry. So even if you are not eating anything bitter, turmeric does and tick the section for bitter, right? So after that we are only left with maybe 3 or 4 different things. All Indian dishes will have cumin, right? And ginger. So pungent, right? And something else. Yes, turmeric. So pungent and bitter and astringent is sorted. Okay, so does that make sense? right? The only other thing you have to keep in mind is that these spices have a property, whether they are heating or cooling. Now, if a person has a pitta problem, that is to do with fire, the person is already hot in the body and in the head, you will not want to give heating herbs to that person. So that is where you look into the harmony with the herbs. And if a person is really feeling problem with sinuses or colds and stuff, or has vata problems or kapha problems, you would not want to give that person cooling herbs, right? Because that person already has a disharmony with cooling or cold doshas, right? So these are the only two things you have to remember. And one thing about Ayurveda is it's pure common sense, because that is what, when it was started, that is how the people were working. They had nothing else to work with, so they thought, okay, let's see whether this is how it works and that is how it works. So it's pure common sense that whenever it is to do with vata and kapha problems, you don't use anything which is cooling, and when it is to do with pitta problem, you don't use anything which is heating. So even with small changes in your diet, you will try and bring yourself in harmony and balance. Okay, so now you will see that amla, cardamom, coriander, fennel, yeah, that's all, and mint, they are cooling, right? And another thing, like this is what we were talking earlier when Barbara was doing the cooking, in our part of the world, you will only find fruits and vegetables in season. You will not find them. I find it very strange when I came here and I could find mangoes 12 months in a year. So happy days. But in India you only get it for 2 months and that's it, they're gone. If you don't get a chance to eat it, you'll have to wait for another year. But that is how it should be. Because when the herbs and when the plants, they grow, and if they are cooling, they will grow in summer. If they are warming and heating, they will grow in winter, because they have a specific function, right? They have a specific job. And if you don't let them do their job, and if you are, getting them 12 months in a year, of course they will have a detrimental effect on the body. So this is what it does. Just take a glass of water.